What's up, everybody? This is your boy Tech G back with another video to help you successfully pass the CompTIA Security Plus 601 certification exam. So let's get into it. In this video, you're going to learn about various aspects of penetration testing, such as known, unknown, and partially known environments, rules of engagement, lateral movements, privilege escalation, persistence, cleanup, and bug bounties. Let's talk about penetration testing. So a penetration test, this is an authorized simulated cyber attack on a computer system performed to evaluate the security of the system. This is not to be confused with a vulnerability assessment. The test is performed to identify weaknesses, which are also known as vulnerabilities, including the potential for unauthorized parties to gain access to the system's features and data, as well as strengths, enabling a full risk assessment to be completed. The process typically identifies the target systems and a particular goal, then reviews available information and undertakes various means to attain that goal. A penetration test target may be what is called a white box, which is basically where background and system information are provided in advance to the tester, or it could be a black box, which means only basic information, if any, other than the company name is provided. A gray box penetration test, this is a combination of the two where limited knowledge of the target is shared with the auditor. And a penetration test, they can help identify systems vulnerabilities to attack and estimate how vulnerable that the system actually is. So when it comes to penetration testing, the terms that you need to be familiar with to pass the CompTIA Security Plus 601 certification exam are the following. You need to know what a known environment is. So basically, this is where the tester starts out with a significant amount of information about an organization and its infrastructure, which would include information like network diagrams, IP addresses, configuration information, and a set of user credentials. And the purpose of this test is to identify as many security holes as possible within the organization's infrastructure. Next is the unknown environment. So this is where a tester is typically provided only a very limited amount of information, such as maybe a domain name and some IP addresses for a particular target. The reason for this test is to have the tester start out with the perspective of that of an external attacker. An external attacker normally identifies a potential target by gathering information about the target from public information. The test would not have prior knowledge of the target organizations and infrastructure. And another aspect of unknown environment testing is that the network support personnel of the target may not be given information about exactly when the test is going to take place, which eliminates the issue of a target preparing for the test and not giving a real world view of how the security posture actually looks. Then we have the partially known environment. So this type of test is a hybrid of a known and unknown environment. Testers may be provided with credentials, but not full documentation of the network infrastructure, which would allow testers to still provide results of their testing from the perspective of an external attacker's point of view. And then we have the rules of engagement. And this is basically a list that outlines the specifics of a penetration test project to ensure that both the client and the testers working on the project know exactly what is being tested, when it's being tested, and how it's being tested. And the following elements are typically included in a rules of engagement document, such as the testing timeline, location of the testing, the time window of the testing, the preferred method of communication, the security controls that could potentially detect or prevent testing, the IP addresses or networks from which testing will originate, and the overall scope of the engagement. Next, we have what is called lateral movement or pivoting. So this is a post-exploitation technique that can be performed using many different methods. The main goal is to move from one device to another to avoid detection, steal sensitive data, and maintain access to these devices to exfiltrate sensitive data. Lateral movement involves scanning a network for other systems, exploiting vulnerabilities in other systems, compromising credentials, and collecting sensitive information for exfiltration. And proper network segmentation, this can help prevent lateral movement. Then we have privilege escalation. This is the act of exploiting a bug, a design flaw, or a configuration oversight in an operating system or software application to gain elevated access to resources that are normally protected from an application or user. And the result is that an application with more privileges than intended by the application developer or system administrator can perform unauthorized actions. Then we have what is called persistence. So after a system has been compromised, additional tasks to maintain a presence in the system are normally commenced, such as installing and or modifying services to connect back to the compromised system. And some of the ways this can be accomplished are the following: by creating a bind or reverse shell, creating and manipulating scheduled jobs and tasks, creating custom processes, creating new users, and creating backdoors. Then we have the cleanup. So cleanup, this refers to a tester being able to cover his or her tracks after successfully compromising a system. Many tools can leave behind residual files or data that need to be cleaned from the target systems after the testing phases of a penetration testing engagement are complete. And some of the items that need to be cleaned from systems include user accounts that have been created, shells that have been spawned on exploited systems, database input that have been created by automated or manual tools, and any tools that have been installed or run from the systems that are under the test. And then finally, we have what is called a bug bounty. So this is a deal offered by many websites, organizations, and software developers by which individuals can receive recognition and compensation for reporting bugs, especially those pertaining to security exploits and vulnerabilities. These programs allow the developers to discover and resolve bugs before the general public is aware of them, preventing incidents of widespread abuse. All right, so that was my quick little class on penetration testing, where we talked about various aspects of penetration testing, such as known, unknown, and partially known environments, rules of engagement, lateral movements, privilege escalation, persistence, cleanup, and bug bounties. Now, if you felt like you've gotten something valuable out of this information, go ahead and hit the like button, share button, drop a comment, but most importantly, subscribe to this channel. Also, go check out my website, Technology G, so that you can get read up on the latest and greatest to help you successfully pass the CompTIA Security Plus 601 certification exam. And until next video, ladies and gentlemen, peace.